We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. You have a large packet beside you here. The good news is we have strike-alls that are going to pare that down quite significantly. Just as a background, as we talked in education earlier today, we had three particular bills make their way to us that involve workforce. And those three bills included, in addition to workforce, other items. The reason you have such a large packet beside you is it includes all of the items that were in the bills as originally introduced by the House. What we've done, and what education did earlier this morning, is they've stripped out all of the redundant language regarding education. And so we're going to be dealing with just a portion of the bills that have to do with workforce. And so what I'd like to do first, Senator Johnson is going to be presenting one of these bills. So I'd like to skip down to item number 5 on the agenda first, House Bill 1301, and I recognize Senator Johnson to explain that bill. Senator Johnson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This bill, currently in Mississippi, we administer to all 11th graders the ACT. That's going to continue, but in addition to that, with the new language in this bill, which you can find on lines 24 through 26, we're going to provide the administration of a career readiness assessment to any student who elects to take it that's in the 9th, 10th, or 11th grade. So it won't replace the ACT, but it's something that we will offer to them if they choose to take it. Career readiness assessment is like the ACT work keys, which is most likely what would be the test that's implemented. But we wanted to leave the language in the bill broad in case that may not be the test that would be administered 5 years from now. So this just provides that a student may choose to take this in addition to the ACT. And that's an explanation of the bill.
And for clarification, you may recall last year we had a bill dealing with ACT work keys that came up near the end of the session. The problem with that in the end was that MDE was not on the same page as far as the comparison between the silver, gold, and platinum levels in the ACT work keys and where the House bill wanted to be. And so in the end, the governor vetoed that bill. Good news this year is that MDE has been involved. There's been some works and meetings to try to bring that together and recognize work keys in a more effective manner. But I'll be glad to yield for any questions for either myself or Senator Johnson on the bill.
Quick question. Mr. Chairman, is there an opportunity for any companies to offer, to be partners and offer, let's say a company wants to come in and they want to provide a grant or pay for students to be tested in ACT work skills. Is there an opportunity for that in this bill?
Well, there's actually, Senator Johnson, there's a funding mechanism in here, if you would.
Yeah, but if the company wants to offer that and students won't choose to take it, if they do it as a grant, I don't think they could do that now, not whether this bill is in place or not. This is strictly for the state to administer one. I think anything private, as long as the school district's okay with it, the student chooses to do it, that can happen.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the bill? Okay, we have a motion of title sufficient to pass. Strike all. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that bill will be recorded. Thank you, Senator, for joining us today and presenting the bill. Okay, next we'll go to House Bill 536. And again, like I mentioned on the last bill, we have stricken all of the education language. The education language in this bill was ACT work keys, and we just dealt with that in House Bill 1301. So what remains in this bill is going to be a companion bill to Senate Bill 2124. If you remember, we passed Senate Bill 2124, which had to do with the Mississippi Department of Unemployment Security. It passed unanimously on the Senate floor, and if you remember from my discussion on the floor, we had situations during the pandemic where people were not working, but were getting paid even though they were not performing work. And there were provisions in the MDES statute that required them to continue to still pay the worker unemployment, even though they were being paid already. So it created a double dipping situation. And then there's some other clarification language in here. Again, it's the exact wording of Senate Bill 2124. We want to keep both the House version and the Senate bill version alive. And that's an explanation of the bill. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Senator McMahon,
Motion.
for motion.
Title sufficient to pass, strike all.
Okay, have a motion of title sufficient to pass, strike all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that bill will be reported. Okay, the next bill we're gonna bring up, we're skipping 557, we're going to House Bill 849, the State Workforce Investment Board. This is kind of a cleanup to a bill we passed last year out of this committee. If you recall, last year we revised the entire SWIB board and the executive committee. As part of the executive committee, we set that to have 3 members who are appointed by the governor, 2 members who are appointed by the lieutenant governor, and then we set the Speaker of the House to present a list of 3 members, of which the governor would pick 2 to be appointed as the 6th and 7th members of that executive board. There have been some questions and concerns regarding the Bill Lane Supreme Court case and the appointing privileges that are granted to the speaker. And so as a result, we're trying to find some language to fix those 2 appointments. And so what this would change is it would change the 2 appointments that had come from the group of 3 by the speaker to being one of those appointments to be coming from the governor after consultation with the speaker, and one to be coming from the lieutenant governor after consultation with the speaker. There would not be a requirement that consultation reached an agreement or anything like that. It's just showing that there was a degree of meeting of the minds beforehand to discuss the matter. But that's a brief explanation of the bill. Be glad to answer any questions. We have motion title sufficient to pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that bill will be reported. Okay, the next bill and the last bill today is going to be House Bill 1136, Mississippi Educational Talent Recruitment Act. What this bill does is it establishes in Section 1 of the bill the Mississippi Educational Talent Recruitment Act. In Section 2, it creates a special fund for a recruiting program to assist a college graduate who is living outside or employed outside of the state and is recruited to Mississippi to work for a Mississippi business. This would allow MDA to use funds to assist businesses in recruiting employees back to the state with a maximum of $25,000 to any one business in a calendar year and a maximum of $5,000 to any one individual. In Section 3, it sets up statute to allow MDA to use general obligation bonds of up to $1 million for funding of the program. And then in Section 4, it provides a tax credit for a communication or broadband cost for a teleworking employee of up to $500. So if we have someone in the state who has a company from outside the state that is employing them and they are choosing to work here remotely, this will allow them up to $500 of tax credit towards any broadband or telecommunication expense that they put out to work in that business. The hope here would be that with the pandemic, we've seen a lot of people leave certain larger cities and are working from home, and we're hoping to make Mississippi more open to have those people, come here and perhaps work in Mississippi. And then in Section 5, it allows that communication or broadband tax credit to be taken against the income taxes. One more note on that credit: the credit is not to exceed any tax liability that the person has, meaning that if you owe less than $500 in taxes for the year in state income taxes, you would be limited to the